Hello and welcome to the Proofread Easy English learning platform. In today's class, we will study conditionals. So what are conditionals? They are sentences used for describing situations where the action in the main clause is dependent or contingent upon a condition in the secondary clause. Now let's take a look at the types of conditionals we have. The zero conditional. The first conditional we have is a zero conditional, which is a factual truth. For example, if you heat ice, it melts. This is a scientific fact that if you heat ice, it melts. This is something you can establish through scientific experiments as well. And this is a universal fact. Every time we heat ice, it melts. In both cases, we have the simple present tense. If you heat ice is the first part of this conditional sentence, and it melts is the second part of this conditional sentence. This is the condition which, if met, will lead to this consequence. If you heat ice, it melts. The important thing to note is that in the first part of this sentence we have the if clause, if you heat ice, and this if clause is in the simple present tense, and the consequence on the other side of the conditional sentence, that is it melts, is also in the simple present tense. So every time you want to use a zero conditional, or every time you want to express a scientific truth in a conditional mood, you should use simple present tenses on both sides of the conditional sentence. Then we have the first conditional. This is used for expressing a present or future possibility rather than an absolute truth. Like in the previous example, I said if you heat ice, it melts. That was a scientific truth. However, in the case of the first conditional, we have a present or future possibility. Like this is something which is highly probable, highly possible, and if the condition in the if clause is met, the consequence will definitely take place. As in this example, if I do not study, I will fail. Now this is something quite definite, like if I do not study, I will definitely fail. If I study for the exam, I will pass. Now this is a highly likely outcome that anyone who studies for an exam does get to pass that exam. The grammatical construction is that the if clause is in the simple present tense, but the consequence, that is the other part of the conditional sentence, has an invariable will plus an infinitive. This means that it is in the simple future tense. If I do not study, I will fail. This is the simple present and this is the simple future. Then we have the second conditional. In this conditional, the outcome is theoretically possible but highly improbable, because the condition set out in the if clause is also theoretically possible but highly improbable. As in this example, if I had magical powers, I would summon the genie. Now having magical powers is theoretically possible but highly improbable. Likewise, summoning a genie using magical powers is theoretically possible but highly improbable. The grammatical construction is, for the if clause, we have the if plus the past simple, and the consequence is expressed in an auxiliary mood using the modal auxiliary would plus the infinitive form of the word. Look at this. If I had is the past simple tense. If I had magical powers, I would is the modal auxiliary, would summon is the bare infinitive in this case. See how the modal auxiliary would is combined with the infinitive summon to form the other part of this conditional sentence. Then we have the third conditional. The third conditional expresses impossibilities in the past. Look at this example. If I had followed the precautions, I would not have fallen ill. Now this situation was possible in the past time frame. I could have followed the precautions, but since I did not follow the precautions, I fell ill. So I'm expressing this impossibility in the past because now I've fallen ill. It is not possible for me to follow these precautions anymore and avoid falling ill. Look at the grammatical construction. For the if clause, we have the if plus the past perfect. If I had followed, had is the conjugated form of the verb have for the simple past or the past perfect, and followed is the past participle form of the verb follow. If you study the verb tenses, you will get to know that had followed represents the past perfect tense. If I had followed the precautions, followed here is not the past form, it is the past participle form. If I had followed the precautions, and look at the consequence side of the sentence, I would not have fallen ill. This is something that would not have happened had I followed the precautions in the past. The second part of this sentence is a conditional perfect. Now what does a conditional perfect mean? It means it has a modal auxiliary followed by have followed by past participle combined with the auxiliary, the modal auxiliary, it becomes a conditional perfect. Would have fallen, would not have fallen. This is the conditional perfect tone that we're using in this sentence. If I had followed the precautions, I would not have fallen. These are the four basic forms of conditional sentences: the zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. Well, sometimes we can use unless in place of if, like as in if clauses. You cannot become a good writer if you do not research a lot. This if can be replaced by unless. This is same as you cannot become a good writer unless you research a lot. So this is something I just wanted to tell you, that you can use if and unless interchangeably in a conditional sentence. Thank you for watching. If you like this lecture, please like and subscribe to this channel, as this helps the Proofread Easy English learning platform in preparing more videos like this. You can also visit us at www.proofreadeasy.com.